Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Web Dev Podcast. Today on the show, we're going to dig into one of my favorite topics, which is community. And more specifically, we're going to talk about how you build a healthy open source community, which today is feeling sadly more and more rare. And to talk about that, we're going to bring on a few of the maintainers of one of this like meteorically popular new project called npmx. So please welcome to the stage Patak, Daniel, and Salma, aka White Panther. What's up, y'all? How you doing?
Hi, it's been a day.
It's been a day.
Just so everyone is in on the joke, Jason was a little late because he said he'd had a day already and it's only 9:30 a.m. for him. So
it is, yeah, we're coming in hot on Tuesday morning here in Portland.
To be fair,
and my microphone's being weird, so you know, it's fine. Everything's fine. Yeah, what a week. It's only Wednesday. So yeah, I am really excited to have y'all here because I feel like there are a couple pockets right now in the dev community that have a tremendous amount of energy and genuine excitement. And it feels unfortunately very rare to see that because I've been observing just kind of a general disillusionment with dev lately. I think largely driven by both the messaging and the impact of AI. But npmx has this tremendously positive, welcoming, active, enthusiastic community around it. And the other pocket that I've seen is at Proto, which we've talked about on this show before, if you want to go back to previous episodes. But so let's talk a little bit about what npmx even is. Maybe start with the high level.
Daniel.
Yay. It's a browser for the npm registry. So if you have a package on npm, which you probably do if you're writing JavaScript or TypeScript, you probably want to consume packages. But by the way, I've since starting npmx, I've had to explain the concept of registries and package managers to countless people in my non-tech life. We're like, so what are you working on? And I'm like, okay, let's go back a bit. So when you write some code, you want to share it with other people and so on. But I won't do that because Jason, I know you know what npm is. But imagine you want to see information. That information is all there. It's in an API. And currently you can browse the npmjs.com website and see the info. But that's not the only way. We can write a different front end for it. And we can use techniques to expose more information even than npmjs.com exposes. And really, the aim is to make it fast and modern and really tailored to the individual. Basically, we're solving our own wish list, our own pain points for the npm registry.
Yeah, and so I think what's interesting to me is that thinking about this kind of from the outside looking in, it's very odd to me that what is effectively a custom skin for npm has become such a sensation in the community, right? Like dozens, hundreds now of, how many contributors are you at right now?
Over 200.
So literally hundreds of contributors to this project. The project itself it feels like, what, a month old, 2 months old?
40 days.
Just to say, that is an understatement. So those are people, GitHub counts as having merged or contributed code. We have over 630 people in our builders Discord, many of whom are contributing to discuss, plan, come up with ideas, create issues, and all kinds of things there.
Yeah. I mean, it's like truly wild how quickly you picked up momentum and how enthusiastic everybody is, especially when you think about what we're effectively looking at is a wrapper for a site that a lot of us don't need to interact with in our day-to-day, right? Like you can use the npm registry without opening npmjs.com. And so, and this isn't to minimize this. I'm not trying to say like, why would you build such a silly thing? I'm honestly just kind of shocked that something like this has caught such fire in the community.
I have some theories.
All right.
So at the beginning, of this session, you alluded to people being disillusioned about web development and a lot of the messaging around it. And also, I think there's a lot of disillusionment and, dare I say, burnout coming from being at work and the processes you need to go to in order to get stuff done. You've got to go through levels and levels of hierarchy. You've got to get sign off. You've got to get stakeholder approval. You've got to prove your worth and value and blah, blah, blah. Daniel just YOLO merges any PR into npmx. But the thing is, the community that has evolved very organically, very quickly around npmx is based on giving people a sense of agency, a sense of worth, a sense of belonging, a sense that anyone can bring value to this seemingly simple project. And we have we've seemingly like grown this network of people with so many different valuable skills. Like if we were to actually like run a business and an organization, like imagine how fast, imagine how much value for the shareholders we could generate. But honestly, I think people have just been given so much freedom and support, which has helped generate that enthusiasm and celebration within each other that we're building something together. And it really is just like, this is what open source is about. And, you know, open source is kind of getting a bit punished for being what it is recently, and not getting enough funding and not getting enough support, not getting enough recognition for how open source really is the backbone of the internet and everything we build. And I think so part of this whole npmx movement, if you can call it that, is about trying to make that more noticed and more prominent to hopefully rub off on other open source projects as well.
Yeah, and I would like to add first, like 10-10, what Salma just said. And when you say that like npmx is a skin for npmx.com, like npmx is more, or is at the same time, the product and the community. Because like, it's not that now that we just like announced the alpha, now it's already very, very polished. Like we can do more, we can keep adding features, but now it's more about like we build together an amazing team of people that wants to work together, that feel empowered to develop and build the tools that they need. And now we look at each other and say, what's next? And this is what is npmx to me. Like, what other problems we have? Because we are not going to stop here.
I wrote a little bit about this thing that Matias just talked about, which is, I think it's a virtuous circle. So when you have the power to change your experience on a day-to-day basis. By the way, let me take it the other way around. I think when you don't have the power to change your day-to-day experience, that is one of the things that leads to burnout. You don't have the ability to influence your environment. You are at the mercy of something else, someone else. That is when toxic environments and toxic colleagues become truly sort of, they drain you and damage you. It's very hard. And I think this is the opposite of it. So this is about the power to change something that you are experiencing. And so npmjs.com is one small part of our life as developers. But you know what? It is a part of our life as developers, and we can actually improve that life. We can make it better, and the better we make it, more people use it, and they become, guess what? Friends and colleagues and collaborators. And then we have a community, which is even better. And that can repeat. Like that is a circle, I hope, that we will just see keep on going. And it doesn't stop until our pain points start going away. It also means that we're not an empire. It's worth saying this, like the aim isn't just to get everybody using npmx, although it is gratifying to see that, but that's not the aim. The aim is to make our life as developers better and to solve some of the pain points we face. And so absolutely, however that happens, right, whether or not it Is that coming from me? That sound? I don't think so.
No. It's,
I think that
Jason,
was me.
whenever you move anything on your desk, Jason, it's a
know,
rather
I know.
alarming sound.
Like I said, it's been a day. I broke my microphone. I don't know what happened. I'm using my phone as a microphone. Like we're just.
it is
here we
fine,
know
go.
what would
Jason.
make your day better?
This is more human,
Jason.
Jason. It should be like that. It should be not be like these professionals. It should be like this.
Just absolute chaos at all times. That's what we're going for.
Can I strongly recommend you try contributing to npmx? I guarantee you'll feel better straight away.
You're probably not wrong.
And if you don't know where to start, Jason, I wrote a handy 10-step guide on my blog to get you started.
Okay. Is this making a ton of noise as well?
It's not so bad.
No, it's an appropriate amount of noise.
Okay,
I
let
feel-
me try to. I'm going to put this on my notebook in hopes that gives me just enough insulation that that typing on my keyboard doesn't cause madness. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so let's talk about your article, Salma. You just wrote about making your first
Yes.
open source contribution.
Yes. 10 hopefully easy steps with screenshots and everything for the process on GitHub, because the npmx repo is on GitHub. And it's really about just trying to get the message across as well that open source isn't just code.
Mhm.
And it's interacting with the product and feeding back. I said product. It's very business, isn't it? Feeding back and opening issues, reporting bugs, even just coming into the Discord and having a chat and maybe welcoming somebody. Like that's a contribution to open source as well. Even if so, with our launch blog post on npmx.dev today, we also rallied around the community to write their own account of the last 40 days and being involved with npmx as well. That's a contribution to open source because it helps spread the word and it helps kind of get the message out of what we're trying to do here and what we're all about. So anything is valid, even if you are literally using npmx. That is a contribution to open source, and that's the bottom line. And that it can feel really scary. Like I used to be petrified of just coming into a repo and doing stuff. It's a scary thing. I remember back in the day a few open source contributions I did to big projects and whatnot. Like I didn't return back though, because it was a fine experience. But there wasn't this whole kind of package with that experience. And I think that's what I wanted to get across in the blog post as well, in that it's not just about pressing submit pull request. It's about, and I don't want to get all cheesy and it's about making friends and feeling like you belong and blah, blah, blah. But like, why else do we do stuff on the web? Like the web was born from all of this and it's got lost because of big shareholder. So let's bring it back.
Yeah. Well, I think that's been my observation, kind of as somebody who's been on the sidelines of this. You know, I'm friends with all of you, but I haven't had time to write code in who knows how long. So I just get to cheer. But what I've noticed is that the energy feels extremely like let's make something together. And I think going back to my original comment about like this thing that just it's, you know, if you get reductive about it, it's a skin on an existing website. It's not though. This is it's a piece of something that's universal. We all interact with NPM packages in this community, right? And we've all dealt with the pain of like not knowing if the package we're using is like, has it been updated recently? Did it just get, you know, giant compared to its last release? Is it, you know, like all these things that we wonder about that NPM just hasn't had they haven't prioritized. They haven't thought about like, how could we make this experience better? And so when npmx comes out and its express goal is like, let's give every developer permission to actively improve their own experience of doing their job, that feels like a very stark contrast from a lot of the other messaging we're hearing, which is hand over control to this other thing that's going to do it better, right? So it's in this sort of sea of marketing that's saying like, well, your craft is going away. Well, your agency should be handed over to the agent. Any of these sorts of conversations. Suddenly npmx emerges as like, hey, you know that thing that kind of irked you about npm? Did you know you could just fix that now? And like, there's a community of people who are sharing ideas about how to fix things. That energy is really, I think, unfortunately rare right now, and also extremely welcome. And I think that's why when we look at Proto, which I kind of want to talk a little bit too about how npmx is incorporating at Proto. But you know, the same energy exists there, where it's like, well, if you want it, you can build it. And there's a whole bunch of people who are stoked to see it. So share your idea and take a crack at it, you know, or just contribute by being an enthusiastic member of the community. npmx has that same energy. And I'm just really kind of feeling a lot of the life is returning to me as I see these communities coming back after a fairly dark few months of just being like, man, is this it? Are we going to be looking back, remembering the good old days, and there's just nothing like it anymore? But this feels like what I loved about the web when I first started.
Yeah, I also see, given that Daniel and Salma did this, so I also wrote a blog post, like a lot of people in the community. I shared this there in the private chat, and my blog post is exactly as about what you are talking about, Jason. So, like, we felt this energy, like very in a similar way at the start of Vite. Like Vite was this explosion of collaboration between all the framework frontends, and like, I don't know if you remember, but like seeing this in like what was Twitter at that point, like all the energy was similar to this, and our Discord was similar to this also. And we saw the same energy when Anthony Fu started Vitest, and like we also rally the same people like there, plus other communities there. And my blog was talk about like that story, and also talk about when we kind of started downward spiral. And it's exactly what you said, basically. Like I can say it with, like, I was extremely depressed last year, like so depressed that I had to leave my job, that I had to like leave open source for like 4 months or something like that, until I recovered and until I was still feeling a little bit better. And Daniel reached out with a DM saying, hey, do you want to collaborate? And this is what I think a lot of people are feeling now. It is like finding each other again, like working with, like we are, like people are saying exactly what you say, like are saying, like, I feel empowered. I feel it is amazing to be able to work with others again like this. And I see that at one point we got lost. We got lost because it was like the messaging, as you said, and there are a lot of other things, like personal situations, family situation, like there is a lot of other things. But talking with other people, I can tell you, like, given sustainability in open source is really, really hard, because also there was like a lot of layoff. Like, there was a lot of people that stopped giving money to open source maintainers. So there is a lot of work to do, but I think the way we get out of this is working together. And it's like taking the matter in of our hands, because this is the solution is not going to come from like above. The solution is going to come from us saying, like, again, believing that we can change things. I think this is what is important.
I very much think that's the case. Like a common phrase that you'll hear used in all sorts of different connotations is that, no one's coming to save you, right? And I think waiting for an external actor to make the changes that you want to be made is, it puts you at the mercy of somebody else. It's you giving up your agency. It's you giving up your autonomy. And instead, if we look around for people who share the values that we have and have, similar motivations, similar interests, similar just dedication to doing things that they're proud of, right? Like whatever that thing is that you care about, there are people around who want to do that thing. And if we get those people in the same room and create space for them to do the things that they care about, it's like Daniel said, it's that virtuous cycle, right? And as all of you have talked about on multiple occasions, creating a community that makes somebody feel like they're allowed to try and allowed to share and allowed to ask a question and not going to get yelled at or condescended to. It just, you can walk into that room, and instead of being nervous or intimidated, you just walk in and you catch this energy and you're like, oh, we're going to do something today. Like, this is a group that's going to get something done. And there's nothing like that feeling. And I imagine all of us can remember many moments, hopefully many moments throughout our lives where we found that group, and you like feel that little bell go off in your head that goes, oh yeah, this is a good place. This is the place for me. And I think that's what I'm excited about when I see the way this community is reacting. Is it's that little bell is going off.
I feel like that every time I'm in a room with you, Jason. Which is not very often, I have to say.
The old razzle dazzle.
Don't tell me that your day is not improving, Jason.
Oh, my day is so much better now that I'm not scrambling to get onto this call. This is all I've wanted to do.
On a serious note,
I think it's so. Go for it, Salma.
Thank you, Daniel. Such a gentleman. On a serious note, though, based on what you were saying, Jason, when you mentioned how people feel like they can be allowed to do stuff and feel comfortable, I think a lot of that comes down to rules and having things in place. From day one, pretty much on the npmx repo, there was a contributing guide, there was a code of conduct, there was all of this information to support the exponential growth of the community, because you've always got something to fall back on, and people aren't like scrambling for rules and stuff. And also having all those types of rules is very self-selecting, which means that people who appreciate the rules and respect the rules are going to stick around more than the bad eggs who make a community like a little bit spicy. And so that's one of the real important like rules of open source and something like this in the open, is to have those things from day one. And I think that's part of the success as well.
I think
so. Here's go ahead.
Just to underline a lot of what has been said, I think it is about being human first, like person first. So we actually, I do think as a development community, we get distracted by arguments about pro or anti AI, which is totally the wrong discussion to be having. Whether you're using LLMs or not, it's a tool. Okay, so the question is, are you pro or anti-human? Do you dehumanize people and deprive them of agency? Or do you look for people to take responsibility and own their work? Now, the tools that they then use, if you are using tools and you were then owning your work, that's fine, you're owning your work. We've only closed some PRs from some people who were not owning their work. And we have an AI contribution guide which says, like, take responsibility for what you create, use your own voice, and understand what you produce. Like that's it. So it's not this sort of anti-AI or pro-AI thing. Pro-human. That's what we're about. Because honestly, if the aim was code, it's so cheap to create code. That doesn't matter. What matters is people, because that is the relationship that's going to last, honestly.
I feel that, on that same topic, the debate about AI is hard because it becomes such it's so clear cut in a lot of people's minds. Like, the presence of AI is an automatic yes or no. And instead, I think it's thinking about it as it is, like you said, it's a tool, and you can use tools to get better, right? Like you can be interested in having more quality in your craft and accomplishing whatever outcome is. And if you're proud of the work that you're doing and you're putting the effort in, it kind of doesn't matter if the first crack at that code was spit out by an LLM, or if you wrote your own crappy first version and then went back and rewrote it, right? Like, if you care, you're going to do good work, and you're going to come up with something that you can be proud of. And I think that AI has made it a lot easier to make things that you're not proud of. You're just sort of like quickly spraying out junk because activity is better than no activity, right? Which seems to be a prevailing message with a lot of this stuff, is productivity. And it's like, yeah, but why? And they're like, because productivity. And I think that the important thing to keep in mind is that like people who didn't care about what they were doing existed before AI, and they existed before computers, and they existed before the printing press. And in each of these situations, people have raised the flag saying like, but this will make it really easy for low effort people to do low effort work. And it's like, yeah, that's true. But like, you know, the solution isn't to destroy all technology. You know, it's to think about how the technology is used and be clear about like where it adds value and where it doesn't, and you know, remind people that using your brain is actually the point. And it doesn't matter what tools you have, as long as that tool is in assistance of you becoming better and more creative, more active, more not productive, more, I don't know, like proud of what you do, right?
I think one of the things about tools is that a tool implies a tool user, someone who is using the tool. And it also implies an objective. You're using a tool in order to do something. And one of the things that we have is that we are not driven by shareholder value. You know, we're driven by our own desires. We want to do things. We want to make them better. We want to do X or Y. And so that immediately puts you back in the position of figuring out, what tool do I want to use that will help me exert agency on the world around me, right? So that is very human-centric. By that, we don't have to do anything to make it human-centric. It just is. Mm-hmm. And open source should be the place where that is true above all. And I think that this is the thing that is so fun about it, right? You don't have to do anything. You can have 500 people doing the same thing. Actually, Matias posted a bit on Blue Sky. We had someone, I forget who it was. It was like what kind of permission do I need before I can start work on this thing? And we had a whole discussion. You don't need permission. Go for it. But what if someone else is working on it? That's fine. Like, it's not a problem. Hey, we've got 2 PRs. We'll merge them and credit both of you with co-author. That's fine. Like, zero problems. But what if we duplicate work? What you mean? Our productivity stats will go down because we have more hours spent on this than required. That's fine too. You know, it's gloriously freeing.
Yeah, redundancy is very important in open source also. Like when there are 2 people working on the same thing, it means that there are 2 people that know that and they can work together now in like maintaining that part. So it's like it's completely different to like doing a Gantt. You know, like it's another world. And I wanted to say something else about like the code. And like code being cheaper than produce. Like before it was a little bit slower, but it was not like the slowest part of it all. Like what it was always the more hard work for real, for people that care, it is actually discussing why we are doing, what are the trade-offs. Like talking with a client and making them understand that what they want us to build doesn't make sense. And like, because this is what the client will value, that you actually like receive a work and you say like, I understand, but if I build this for you, this is not going to be useful for you. Can you tell me what do you want to achieve? And I can help you build something that is actually going to be useful for you. That is like human collaboration. That is like the hard part. Building it, once you are proficient on a framework, on like, then there is like work. You need to care about accessibility. Like you need to care about performance. We can polish the hell out of our websites. That is like really, really interesting. But like code, like we know how to code. Like Asians are doing it faster. Well, okay, but the collaboration part, the trade-off, Asians are not that good at that.
You know, that's something that I've thought about as well. And I saw there was a post that went up from Dax Rad where one of the points he made was like ideas, like companies don't have good ideas, and like making it hard to implement ideas was actually a feature, not a bug, because for the most part, if you build everything you think of, like I've worked on teams where every time somebody has an idea, they start coding and they don't think about it. They don't like do any effort on like validation, talking to somebody who might use it, thinking through how it might affect other parts of the code base, like any of the work that thinks about how a feature connects to the rest of the code base or to the community or to the product or whatever. They just code because there's an idea and they can code it. And inevitably, those are the code bases that have the most trouble because they're very disjointed and they're very kind of patchwork because everybody's just coding and not thinking. And I think AI has accelerated this, but it's something that I've complained about this since long before AI was commonplace, that in most product teams, the biggest problem is getting people to stop coding and think about what they're building. And so I think AI has been an accelerator for that problem, but it's definitely not the cause of the problem, right? Like the cause of the problem is that a lot of people think that the value of what we do is punching keys. And it's such a, I mean, that's the end. Yeah, that's like writing the receipt after you've done all the work.
And it's also, I think you notice this with writing, for example, that the thing about good writing is taste. So knowing what's good and what's bad and what sounds good and what's effective and so on. And people often use AI because they struggle with writing. But the very thing that you have to have in order to handle any kind of suggestion, whether that's from an LLM or from another person, is you have to know, you have to have taste. You have to know, is this good or bad? And so we're running into a situation where we're using LLMs to do things, but we don't have the thing we're asking them to do is the thing that we need to have in order to evaluate what they're producing. So we're putting ourselves in very difficult situations. But the point you make, I think that what you're saying is the code isn't the point. Knowing what to code is the point. Like
yes.
the quantity of lines isn't the point. It's and like very few lines is better, right? The point is, what are you coding? What's the purpose? What's the value? That level of question is something we should all have been spending more time on anyway. Maybe we didn't have enough time to be doing that before, but that was always one of the things that set a senior software engineer from a junior software engineer. So like that concept of stepping into the product mindset, into the bigger picture, understanding business goals, not just the detail of the code, for example. That was always crucial, and it's more crucial than ever, I think. But that's not a unique thing to AI.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that was always that's the advancement path. Like after you get to senior is about being able to write all the different types of code. But once you start going towards staff, principal, beyond, you're not coding anymore. You're thinking in systems, you're doing architecture, you're coordinating teams, you're explaining why this code thing that needs to be built has value to the sales team that doesn't care at all about technical architecture. You need to explain why making that change is going to actually make it easier for them to do their jobs. And you have to be able to understand what their job is and what they care about in order to communicate that, right? And so it becomes such a human problem once you get to a certain level of seniority. And I it's very difficult to really explain that to somebody who thinks that their entire value is coding and like output. But the thing that we drive, the thing that is the reason we get employed is because we're able to drive outcomes. And I think when you start to, I think one of the things that concerns me now is that when people talk in AI circles, the conversation is very much driven by like, well, how many simultaneous agents are you running? I'm like, okay, but what are you building? Why? Like what?
I literally posted that to Blue Sky last week.
Yeah, but I think I was thinking about this because somebody, a friend of mine was saying, yeah, I think by the end of the year, you'll be able to run 1,000 simultaneous agents 24 hours a day. And I was like, I was like, I'm pretty sure I don't have a single threaded 24-hour a day good idea. Like, if I had 1,000 simultaneous agents, I could maybe keep them 0.1% busy if I was lucky, right? Like I never have enough good ideas that have been validated that I can actively get behind to build like 1,000 oh my goodness, can you imagine trying to come up with 1,000 simultaneous good ideas to build?
See, this is the thing. These people that believe in all this, they just want to be a middle manager. That's their aspiration. They're just middle managing all these agents because they don't know what to do. They haven't learned the thing, so they can just be in their like big manager throne and say, "Dance, agents, dance, and make me money." I'm sorry, it's nonsense. I'd love to be on a podcast one day that doesn't end up talking about AI.
No, and I mean that's totally fair. And Sean is actually the person who was talking to me about this, and like I am really curious to see what the future brings, because I do think that things are changing, and I'm trying not to just like dig my heels in and say no, but I'm also trying to be realistic about like what are we actually capable of as humans, right? Before we just get into the land of like, well, what if we just asked a computer what it liked, and then it starts doing sort of like Markov chain predictions about what an app should be based on other apps it's looked at, and like that sort of seems that seems to me like that's not going to be producing value. That's just going to be producing motion, right? And that's sort of the concern that I have, and making sure that what we're doing is building things that are useful, right? And so I know we're right about at time, and so I want to steer us back, because I have one more question that's not related to AI, and I want to talk about the social component of npmx, because I think it's really interesting. So you've done something here that I haven't seen in other code-related projects, with the exception of like Tangled. And I'm not going to try to explain Tangled because I don't fully understand it yet. So let's instead talk about npmx. Can you tell us a little bit about the social features that you're doing and kind of how those are working?
So I'll fire in. So we are using, so whenever you want to build anything social, so we offer the ability to like a package. That's a social thing, because it's not just something for you. It's not just something that you want to know about. You want other people to see that like, and for people to be able to see the aggregated likes, but also to see what other people are doing. And so whenever you want something that's social, you can decide to build your own social network. And that is what most apps currently do. So if you have any kind of app that has any kind of social side of things, mostly they all reinvent the same thing. So you have the concept of users, and those users can follow, or they can connect in some way with other users, and then you can see the social kind of things, right? So you'd see everywhere: Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, everything. It's all unique and it's all different. So we're using something called the Atmosphere, which uses a protocol called the @proto. And the single biggest app that people know about that uses @proto is called Blue Sky. But @proto is not Blue Sky. It's the technology for using a decentralized social experience. So we use that. Wherever you have your data stored, your data is yours and it lives in one place on a server somewhere, you can record your stuff. So you can put your Blue Sky post there, you can put your NPM like there, you can record you can scrobble a piece of music that you're listening to. That's all your data. You can follow somebody, you can edit a profile, I don't know, anything you want. And any app can build upon this primitive. And the great thing about it is, one, it's yours, your data. You can take it anywhere, you can delete it, you can do whatever you want. And two, apps don't have to reinvent the wheel. They don't have to reinvent social features. So we can use ours. People who don't have one of these accounts already can sign up. We have this thing called a personal data server. Sounds complicated, but it's just a place for you to put your data, the data that you own. And we do that for free, so that people can benefit from the social features of npmx.
You know
and
what
it's
I
really
love?
amazing. So I would say that none of the three of us are the experts on Atmosphere or @proto. So we're happy to take credit for all of the work of the people who are experts, who built all the features. And it's amazing. So Bailey and Seu and loads and loads of other people.
So many.
Have built some incredible things. And although we only have the concept of a profile page and likes right now, I really feel that this sort of @proto backend enables so much, because so much about open source and software is social. It's one of the things I love most about GitHub is the feed, the social feed, which connects, hey, this release and this person contributed here and this person, like that's the thing for me. And if we can start to bring bits of that into npmx, so it's not just packages, but it's teams and who knows, maybe events or posts or releases or all kinds of things associated with that open source world. Matias is probably thinking, Daniel, Daniel, rein yourself in. But I think we can do so
Well, but-
many very, very cool things.
But here's the coolest thing about this and why I'm so excited about App Proto is that you've implemented likes for NPM packages on npmx. Now, if npmjs.com were to decide they wanted to implement those, they could actually bring in the npmx lexicon
Yep.
and show those likes directly on npmjs.com, right? If you wanted to, say, pull in people's blog posts, you could have on the profile the standard site lexicon and show my latest blog post. You could pull in the Blue Sky lexicon and show my latest social posts. Like,
Yeah.
It's so interesting to me how this changes the math from like, well, do I want to build a social feature? No, I definitely don't. I don't want to build a blogging platform. But if I could let everybody on Code TV show their latest blogs because they're publishing on App Proto, now that I'm interested in. That's really interesting. Right. So I think that really got my engine turning in terms of like, wow, this is like kind of a second wave of the internet, right? Like this is, we centralized the whole thing to 4 websites, but you know, what if when Twitter had gone off the rails, you could just say, okay, well now I'm going to go to nottwitter.com, which uses the Twitter protocol. And I don't have to deal with the Twitter algorithm anymore because nottwitter.com has a better algorithm. And they have no control over whether or not I can see things on nottwitter.com. I just have access to all my old posts.
This is the thing, right? So open source is about removing all those barriers to software and software development and interacting with software and building software. And App Proto does the same thing, but for the social aspects of the internet, because so much of the social internet is behind a gate. And Instagram dies, you lose your Instagram, everything, and it's gone. It's not yours. Like when you're on those platforms, it's not yours, but this is yours. And I think this has, I'd love to see where it is in 10 years, to see actually how the internet works in 10 years based on this technology.
Yeah. And one thing is, one thing that is important is that this is not some theory that, oh, a website may use this. Like go to our Blento. That Blento is a website that allows you to do these kind of like dashboards. You put like different widgets. It's really cool. Like, and we have one for npmx. And in our Blento, that is another website, there is a leaderboard of the top packages. I don't know if someone has the link to share, but like, that is amazing. That is already using the likes of this lexicon in another website. It's already working.
And is that's the npmx.dev Blento? Yeah, here we go.
Let me check if I can.
Yeah, I can see it right here. So I'm throwing up the link. Yeah. And so
if
go check
you
that
go,
out because it's pulling all sorts of cool stuff up.
Yeah, and bottom right, I think you see the leaderboard of and you can see the package that someone asked it, like who is the top? It's not from the people that are here in the call.
But no, I mean, it's great. Like to be able to pull this information in, right? And I can see there's a post from Code TV on the Blento right now because that's what we're doing this stream, right? And so it's like this very interesting ability to just pull data without actually, you're not in a world where your data is locked up on one website and you have to build these very bespoke API calls and get specific API tokens for each service that you want to integrate. It's suddenly like, well, I can just kind of get the App Proto feed and I can filter it down to the lexicons I care about, to the users that are on the site, and build a custom feed of whatever I want. And it's incredible. Like it's the power that we have. It's like back in our hands. We have the ability to remix the internet, which was always my favorite part about it. That was what I loved about MySpace. It's what I loved about GeoCities. It's what I loved about building personal websites. And the fact that now, if Salma and I start having an idea, when we used to work at Netlify together, we would just bounce off each other until we were both completely off in la la land. But now we can do that, and we can pull our ideas back and forth between our personal websites and do interesting, creative, weird things with that. And nothing makes me happier than that ability. Yes, absolutely. If I ever have time to code it, we're doing it.
All right. See you later.
But okay, so we are at time. I want to bring us home here. So I guess I want to make just kind of a heartfelt plea to everybody watching to not let the overarching environment that we are currently living in tech discourage you, because there are these pockets. There's npmx, there's @proto, there's more out there that I'm not paying attention to. There's really healthy communities like the Vite community, like the Svelte community, like the Nuxt community, where people are very supportive and care a lot and are really doing good work together. So Daniel, Patak, Salma, where should people go so that to take their first steps here to get introduced to this community?
So
Go
come
to
build.npmx.dev.
Yes.
And you'll join our Discord server, which is the best place to get started. You can chat, ask questions. I mean, nothing's stopping you from creating an issue or a PR straight away. But yeah, build.npmx.dev is the place to come.
And if you do submit a PR and it gets merged before you're in the Discord, you'll get a little automated message welcoming you to the Discord anyway.
And a special role.
Yeah, special role. Super secret special role.
Yeah. Shh. Don't tell anyone. I don't know why you brought it up. But did you bring it up, Salma?
Amazing. Well, thank you again for hanging out. Everybody go check out npmx. Make sure that you like this, subscribe to subscribe to the channel, get on your favorite podcatcher and get the Web Dev Podcast. We've got lots of fun stuff happening. Salma, Daniel, Patak, thank you so much for taking some time. Thank you for putting together this community, and for all the contributors who I know are in the comments right now. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for giving this old dog another breath of hope for the open source community. Love you all. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks a lot. Bye.